warm welcome to Gates TV. We're nearly 10 games into the season now, so we thought it was about time we had a bit of a catch up with the manager, Jay Saunders, who I'm delighted joins me right now. Jay, first things first, we waited almost 2 years, didn't we, to get back into the full swing of a season. And boy, we've kind of been back in with a bang, and the Saturday-Tuesday rhythm is now in place. How has the start of the season been for you?
Chaotic, I suppose, is the best way. I think, like you say, we had a long break, and then we're really back into it now. I think to start the season, when it was just Saturday to Saturday, it was quite relaxed. It was quite unusual for this, especially for this league. Normally it's Saturday, Tuesday, and then a couple of cancellations here and there, and it soon goes back to normal. So it's been hectic, but there's no doubt about it. I think everyone would rather it that way than we were obviously a year or so ago when we was all pulling our hair out and not getting any football. So I won't complain too much.
No, definitely not. It feels like a bit of a shock to the system though. And even in pre-season, there was a little bit of disruption due to COVID. I know a few players missed out on games. But after that kind of slower start, do you feel now that sort of Tuesday, Saturday rhythm of gameplay will help bring some cohesion and some momentum into the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just getting back into a rhythm, really, isn't it? It's getting back. For so long, everyone's, whether you were involved in, whether you're part of the team or part of the management or a supporter, your routine just went out the window, didn't it? That your sort of Saturday, what you did, and I think now everyone's back in the full swing of things, and like I say, really enjoying it. It's just good to see. It's just nice to be around it, and every Saturday on a match day, like having a Tuesday night game the other night, it's just nice to see supporters, see the normal faces. Obviously, crowds have been good this year, which I thought they would be after such a long break, and it's really good to be back and getting in the swing of things, and back to everyone doing what we all love being a part of.
Absolutely, and I mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. Tomorrow's game against Bishop Stortford, that will be the 10th league game of the campaign so far, and I know for managers normally that's a bit of a marker, an opportunity to sort of assess things, and overall, where are you at in terms of your thoughts on the squad? I know we're going to talk about some comings and goings, but in terms of you as the manager of the club, how have things gone sort of 10 games in?
Really pleased. I said I think I did an interview just before the season started, and I said it might take us sort of 5 to sort of 8 games, whatever, to kind of get a feel for where we're at as a squad with so many new faces. Obviously with Jack Richards leaving, which I'm sure we'll come to, with him leaving, I think we've literally got Ben Swift left from sort of last season. So it is a completely new bunch, and it takes time to get used to each other. There's players you sign and little combinations you put together, or people you think will play well together and don't quite work. So it's been tough. It's been sort of took a lot of work to get the squad together, but really pleased with where we're at. I mean, obviously we've had two results where we conceded a few goals, obviously, in the FA Cup, which is unfortunate, to Merstham, and then obviously Lewis on Saturday. But other than that, I've got to be pleased with where we're at. We've played some good sides. We played teams up and around it. We played Enfield at the top of the league and won. And other than the Lewis game in the league, if you're talking league only, other than the Lewis game, I'm pleased with all the performances. Even the Hornchurch away when we lost, I felt we deserved something out of that game. So the performance was there. It's just not the result. So yeah, all in all, really pleased with where we're at. Obviously, the squad what we come to needs tweaking, but as a start to the season and points on the board, then if you'd have asked me would I be happy with where we're at, then yeah, I'd be delighted.
I think it's easy to forget that point, that actually Ben Swift now is the only player from previous campaigns. The team really has a unity quite early on in the season, which is really reassuring, and I suppose a good sign for the future. And you did mention the departure of Jack Richards. There's been a few departures from Hartsdown Park, and this is the first opportunity we've really had to talk to you about the squad and so on. Can you talk us through the recent departures? Obviously, we lost Chris Sessignon, Mo Kamara, Jack. When departures happen like that, I suppose it's not always a large amount of context to them.
No, listen, it's when you sign, I think if you even go back to when we signed Tommy Cooney pre-season, it just didn't quite work out for him, and things changed, and we brought Joe Anderson in. So sometimes it's a simple fact that someone becomes available you think will suit the squad and suit the team more than what someone else does. So that comes into it. With Sess, obviously, it's been a long time. It wasn't particularly someone I wanted to lose. I think Cole Shorten come along and it was closer to his home and stuff. And I think it was just an opportunity that he felt was right at the time. And we spoke about it and couldn't quite come to an agreement on stuff. So he kind of had that opportunity with Cole Shorten and took it, and fair play to him. So is a miss, and it has been a miss, because that right back position is obviously somewhere we've been working on. Obviously, Jules Lamb come in, had an excellent debut. Had a tough game last Saturday. Started the game well, then he got booked just before half time, and I think that killed him a little bit. But he's 17, and I'm delighted that Jules is in around it, coming from the youth system. And that's not his natural position. He's a centre midfielder, really. So he's been excellent for us. So yeah, we lost this, and it was a blow because he was a big character in the changing room. Mo Kamara is someone that I signed last season, to be honest, and to play alongside Swifty. And then obviously lockdown happened. We brought him back in, and I had him earmarked to play alongside Swifty. And then, like I said before, with players become available, Lewis Knight got back in touch with me and said, "Look, would you be interested still?" And I felt it was an opportunity I couldn't turn down. So I just felt him and Swifty could be a good partnership. And he's come in, and Lewis has been great. Been really pleased with him, and him and Swifty have formed a good partnership. So it sort of Mo then had a couple of games at right back, and it's not his natural position. He a couple of games in midfield, but it's just he wants to play centre half. And I had to be honest with him and say that at the moment I can't see him playing ahead of Swifty and Knighty. And he kind of made that decision that for him it was a case of to play regular football. And you can't stand in block wire players. And at the end of the day, if they're non-contract, if they want to leave, that's going to happen. So it's one of those where we had the conversation, and he made that decision. He's gone down to Whitehall, and Mo's a good player and another good lad, and I'm sure he'll go on to have a good season. Jack Richards is a slightly different one. Obviously, I've known Jack a very, very long time. I sort of trained him when he was a kid at Maidstone. He then made it all the way into the first team. I gave him his debut at 16 in the first team. He's someone I think very, very highly of. But Jack's had a couple of seasons now since he's been at a club where he's just had niggling injuries, and he'll have 3 or 4 really good games, and then something will go wrong. He's had a few back problems here and there. And we just had a good chat. We actually had a chat about 3 weeks ago, and I just said to him, "Look, you've got to get yourself fit, and you've got to get back enjoying his football." Jack, like I say, he's someone I consider not just I consider him a friend as well. Really, I've known him so long, and I know his dad really well. And so it was one of those that we just spoke, and I just said, "You've got to get back having a smile on your face." And I think he just felt he needed a fresh change, maybe get away and get some games under his belt. He's obviously gone to. He decided to go Chatham, his local club. One thing is obviously they are in a different league, so we can hold his registration. And I've said, "Look, let's see how it goes. Get yourself fit, enjoying football." Chatham, an ambitious club, and I'm sure he'll go down and have an effect. And it's something that we may revisit in the future. But I just felt, and he felt the same, that it was maybe time for a little change, just to give him that kick and see if he can get his fitness back and get back to really enjoying it again. And I hope he does, because like I say, he's someone who's got bundles of ability, and he just needs to get back doing what he does best.
I suppose that's the thing as well for the players. They've gone 2 seasons of disrupted football, so now more than ever they probably are just hungry to get those starts and to play as much football as they can. And is that one of the things for you as a manager, is that honesty and dialogue with players? I think you mentioned it actually in your interview after the game on Tuesday. You had a sort of similar conversation with France Boller, who was a bit disappointed to be on the bench. That's a hard thing as a manager, because you want your squad to be hungry, but also know that when their opportunity comes, that it's there for them to take and make a positive impression.
Yeah, listen, I think if you ask any players playing me, I'm very honest. I don't sort of, I don't see the point in lying to players and this and that. I'm quite honest, and I tell them, and that sometimes that's not always what they want to hear, and that's obviously the case with Bollo. He wants to play every week, and so do a lot of them. There's people out of team at the moment. You can look at Biv, Jake Embry. They're all unfortunate to be outside at the moment, but you pick a side and you do what you think's right. And actually, after the Lewis game, I did text Boller and I said, "Look, I might have got it wrong on the day." Well, clearly did, because we lost 6-2. But with regards to team selection, I think maybe he deserved to stay in the team, but I was concerned about his groin and losing him longer. So he kind of understood that, and he gave a perfect response on Tuesday. But if players are sitting there and they're happy not to be involved, then obviously they're not going to be for me either. So I think in general, the players have got that hunger and that desire to go and play, like you say, after having a long time off. So we've got a good group. We've got a really good group, and it's been a blow to lose 3 sort of big players for us. and it's left us short. But it's something that we're obviously assessing at the moment and trying to improve.
Well, I know you're working incredibly hard behind the scenes to bring in players, and there was an announcement earlier today that some supporters might not have read about yet, but a familiar face coming back to Hartsdown Park. Can you tell us about that little bit of recruitment you've managed to get over the line?
Yeah, Harrison Hatfield's come back. H is someone I've known quite a while again. He came in a couple of seasons ago. He started 2 or 3 games, I think it was. I was in around the bench, but again, he was at an age where we just felt he needed to go and get some experience in men's football. And he's gone down to Bearsted, and he's done that. Had a really good start to the season. H was someone, because he can play so many positions and play them well, it's probably hindered him a little bit with regards to actually nailing down something. And he's a manager's dream because he can fit in everywhere, but he obviously sometimes doesn't help your calls if you're a player. But he's someone that's gone down there, got regular games, had a really good start to the season, scored a few goals and assists and stuff. And we just had a chat. I rang Bearsted, just said, look, to Kev, the manager, who's been brilliant. I just said, look, I'd like to bring him back into the fold if H is up for it. We had a chat, and he sort of waived the 7 days, and we had a chat. And he had a few options, to be honest. He'd been in with a team at our level, one of the sort of teams up the top of the league at our level. And he also went in with a Ryman South team training that were interested. But once we had a chat, he was very keen to come back down. And that was always the plan, that he would get some games, get some experience and come back to us. So I'm delighted to have him back on board. I think he's ready now for this sort of level, and he'll be a good addition to the squad. Like I say, can play many positions, and that's always a bonus. But I've got somewhere where I think he'll have most effect for us, and look forward to him when he gets in the side. I've made it quite clear after a good win on Tuesday. Obviously, it'd be tough for him to come in and start straight away, but it's nice to have that option.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's nice as well to see players coming back to the club. Obviously, Sam Blackman is one of those who's made a really impressive start to the season in the heart of the midfield, and it goes to show that having those open, honest conversations and always kind of leaving things on good terms means that players can come back when they're like Harrison, gone away and got that experience. But I know the squad is still light, and you are still looking to obviously enhance it. What areas are the priorities for you right now?
I don't want to say too many specific areas, because I think if Bishop Stortford or anyone watching this, they might earmark that tomorrow. So there's areas we need to. We've got a 7-dayer currently in on a player, which I was hoping would be waived and we'd be able to speak to him sort of and have it over the line by Saturday. His club sort of said no. We had a player that I thought a deal was done with, and he pulled out last night, which was a shame. But I mean, one thing I am, and I've always been the same since I've been a manager, I won't rush into signings. I'm not one of those that will sign a player for the sake of it that will then 2 days later find out he isn't good enough and we get rid of them. I don't like going blind on players that I've never seen before, which some people do, and that's fair enough. I think we've got a good squad. I'll only bring in players that I think are going to improve us, that are better than what we've got, or will add to what we've got. So we've been patient with it, and as frustrating as that can be for supporters and for the club, we've got a budget to work to. We're not going to go out and just be able to sign anyone, so we have to think about that as well. And we're working that budget, and we're working trying to get the best players we can get in that will add to what we've got. As I say, we're hoping we'll definitely by sort of next week we'll have a couple in. I was hoping to have one more in by tomorrow. We'll have to see how that goes. You never know. There's still a few hours to go, but it's taking a little bit longer. But like I say, we'll get the right ones in, and ones that I think will add to the group we've got.
That kind of leads to my next question, really, and I suppose it's just a case of re-emphasising. Every interview I think I've done with you since you joined the club as manager, you've always made that point when it comes to recruitment, that you're only going to bring bodies in that strengthen and characters that will fit in. And you've spoken about it a lot this season in terms of it's a really good dressing room. So I suppose that's another element you need to consider as manager is the dynamic of the characters as much as the quality of the player.
Yeah, I've always been big on that. I think it's a massive thing not to have any what they call bad eggs in the change room, or people that don't fit in. And I was chatting to a couple of lads last night that were injured and just saying to them out, like, just picking their brains about things. And obviously, as a manager, once you're out of that change room, you don't always see the stuff that goes on between them. But they were sort of saying what a good group they've got, and there's no one that doesn't get involved. And I think what shows that for me is someone like James Bessie. When he came in, he knew no one at the club. He jumped up a couple of levels, and he's become a really important player for us. And he's been excellent recently. And but you can just see him come out of his shell at training now. He's involved with the boys and in the change room, and that makes a big difference. And it's good to see. But they're a good group in there, and they're a group that okay, we fell apart a bit last week, and obviously conceded the 6 goals we did. But like I said on the day, fair play to Lewis, they deserved the win, and they were very ruthless in that final third. Other than that, I mean, if you look at the Enfield game, we could have crumbled in that. We came back and won the game. You even look at the response we got Tuesday night after losing 6-2. We could have gone there and crumbled a bit, especially when they got back into it 2-1, because obviously that's the scoreline we were against Lewis. But we didn't. We've gone and got the third. So we've got a good group this year that are really hungry and really sort of together. And I think that's a massive thing. Sometimes you're not going to be at your best, but they're a group of boys that are willing to give their all for the club and for each other. And that's a massive part. Can we be better? We can be better at a lot of things, no doubt about it. But you've still got to have that hunger and desire, and they've got that at the moment, which is great.
That togetherness is obviously so important, and having supporters back at Hartsdown Park, you mentioned it earlier, the increasing crowds, and I think supporters have actually already noticed with the new faces that you've brought into the club. It's just really taken off. The first impressions between both seem to just be a really positive vibe, apart from, of course, that disappointing way to concede the unbeaten start at home last weekend.
Look, I've said it quite clearly. We're not going to be perfect every week, and we're going to have results on the day we weren't good enough, or Lewis were just a lot better than us on the day, especially second 45, that's for sure. But even at the end, there were supporters sort of clapping and understanding that sometimes that happens. I don't expect that to happen every week, and it's something that it pleased me that supporters were behind the boys still, and the players went over and clapped them, because they know deep down that it's not good enough and it shouldn't happen. But it has. I've been around it as a player, and sometimes it happens, and you move on. But the support's been brilliant, home and away. They've been great, and I like to think. I mean, one thing I've noticed, all the players have said it, is how good the atmosphere's been and how good the crowds have been. So that's nice to see, because when I am signing players, I always mention about the crowd, and the crowd will get behind you if you give 100%. No matter what, if you give 100%, they're a crowd that appreciate that, and I know that for playing in front of them. So it's good to see that they have done that, and the players are noticing it, and in response, we're getting some good performances. So we're scoring a few goals this season, which is pleasing, and hopefully they're getting their money's worth, and they can keep coming and getting behind the boys, and we'll see where we go.
Yeah, certainly so. And finally, on the point of recruitment, as you say, you like to take your time and recruit the right characters. And I understand you have now recruited an assistant manager who might be a familiar face, certainly around Kent football. Do you want to tell us more about Lloyd, who you brought in to assist you?
Yeah, I brought Lloyd Blackman, someone I've known a long time, played with over the years, and obviously Margate supporters remember he played for Margate for a bit, and but yeah, I've known him a long time. And it's basically, I sort of said when Corley left, I wasn't going to rush into everything, and I've got to give a shout out to Preza and Hollers. They've been outstanding, really helpful filling that void. But it's always the case. I felt when the right person come along, then I'd bring someone in that I felt could add to the management team, but add to the group as well. So I had a chat with Lloyd after he left, just rang up and said, look, sorry to see you've gone from Whitstable, because he was someone I spoke to about players and stuff. And I just sort of said, do you want to come in and see how it goes? And we haven't announced it as yet, just because I wanted him to sort of see how we work, see what it's all about, get a feel for the place. And he came in against Lewis and saw it. And I think he realised that we have got a good group and like the setup. And yeah, it's gone from there, really. So he was there on Tuesday, and then was at training last night, and he'll come in as assistant. I think, like I say, he'll add to us. He's got good knowledge. He's got a good knowledge of football, knowledge of players in the area and further afield. So it'd be a good asset to us, and I'm enjoying working with him. Already I can see his eagerness and his hunger to do well, and that's it's nice to have someone else there, and it's a new voice for the players as well. Sometimes that's good, and see different things. But like I say, Ollers and Preza have been outstanding, and it won't take anything away from what they've been doing, and they'll still be there and add into it as well. So as a group, I think Lloyd will come in and be good for us.
Well, I know how important your staff are to you, and what you're building in the dressing room, and how much of a role they play in that. Whilst we've got the opportunity to ask you, obviously we're recording this ahead of tomorrow's trip to Bishop Stortford. What kind of challenge are you expecting from that trip?
it's a really interesting game, really, in that I think people expected, I did as well, Bishop Stortford to be right up there. And it just shows you how early it is in the season, really, and how results can be funny, because I think they've won 3, drawn 3, lost 3. Something along that is what I've got told on a report I've got on them. I don't really look too much into their form sort of thing, but they've got some good experienced players. It's always a tough place to go, so it'll be a difficult game. But our away form in general has been good. I think we can go there confident after a good win Tuesday night. I'm pleased we got that win, and we're not going there on back-to-back defeats. So you could see in training last night the boys are lively and looking forward to it. But yeah, really tough game. Got plenty of experience and really good players that I've been interested in the past, in getting in myself. So we know what they've got to offer. We sort of done our homework on them, and hopefully we can go there and get a good result.
Our fingers firmly crossed. And then after that game, there's 3 home games at Hartsdown Park in about 7 days, so we might as well just set up camp there, really. But obviously the club's running some special ticket offers. It's during half-term week, with the idea being that hopefully we can build upon those increasing crowds and keep them consistent. How important could that week be? I know it's very early, it's only October, but when you've got the opportunity to play a couple of league games and then obviously the trophy at your own patch, it's quite a good opportunity, isn't it?
It is, and your home form's important, which is, it's tough to say after losing 6-2, but it is important. And it was nice to get that unbeaten start to the season. I think when I came in as manager, I know our home form hadn't been great. We hadn't been scoring a lot of goals and the crowds were down. So it's been really good to get that little unbeaten start that we had, get the result on Tuesday night. And then hopefully, like you say, we can go into that week. We was all looking forward after the Enfield game to the Tuesday night, first game under floodlights, the new floodlights I should add, which is good. And obviously it got called off because of the petrol crisis. So we're looking forward to that first Tuesday night game. But in general, look, as a team and as a management team, we're going to take it one game at a time. But certainly if we can get off to a good start and win the first game, then hopefully that'll attract the crowds in for the other 2. And it's an opportunity to keep a good start going in the league. And if we want to stay up amongst the sort of playoff positions and keep sort of around it, then obviously it'll be a big week for points. And that's our priority. The trophy is important for the club, obviously, money, financial wise. But for me, the first league game is massive, and that's what we'll be concentrating on. Okay,
perfect. Well, look, Jay, I really appreciate your time. I know supporters do really appreciate these updates as well. And it just leaves me to say best of luck tomorrow against Bishop Stortford. And yeah, just we'll keep everyone up to date as and when there are any player announcements, player signings and so on. But yeah, just thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Charlotte. Cheers.
And thank you for tuning in to Gate TV. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you are the first to know whenever our latest video content drops.